Hi everyone, I'm Tanvi from Shippay, and today we have with us the amazing founders of Rise Bar. They not only secured funding but also got a celebrity ambassador for their brand while still in college. So welcome Sahil and Dhruv. So before we start with the podcast, I want to know a little bit about both of you and about your brand. Like how did it come into being and like was it motivated or triggered by your own needs?
Correct. Firstly, thank you for having us and thank you for a lovely introduction. So we'll start with how did this idea came and what our brand. So both Sahil and I are very health and fitness enthusiasts, and we used to go to gym, and we have to travel a lot of times to our colleges, and there was a huge travel time. And I told Sahil that I'm done with coffees. I want something to eat that gives me the same boost of coffee because then after I'm hungry. So I told him, is there any caffeinated energy bars?
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And like after he said that, I was like, there must be some energy bars that are in the market that have coffee and caffeine in it. So I started doing research instantly. I saw that there was no energy bar that has caffeine in it, and that's how the journey began. You know, from there.
when I go to gym, I generally have a tall glass of coffee. That's how I feel energetic because I'm going early in the morning.
Yeah.
And so, there are, I guess, almost after COVID, there are a lot of snack bars and energy bars and protein bars. So, like, what is your main differentiator? How do you, among a lot of other brands, how are you differentiating?
Correct. So we launched India's first and only caffeinated energy bar. But apart from that, we're not just an energy bar brand. We are a health and wellness lifestyle brand. So we want to cater to people's lifestyle and their daily problems. So what our USP and special is that the whole the formulation we have done together, and we have a unique edge like caffeine. So it has more caffeine than a Red Bull and cheaper than a Red Bull. So that's a special edge.
We as a brand position ourselves more focused and oriented towards taste and efficacy, along with a community building approach where we're trying to get like-minded people on board and support the vision.
Correct. And we also want to be the face of the brand because people can resonate that we also eat this and we want to put out something in the market that we don't consume ourselves.
Yeah.
Because being a health conscious consumer and a fitness enthusiast, we exactly know what is good for you and what is not.
So, like from what I studied from your journey, I saw that you started relatively with your from idea building to brand building. You did all that in a short span of time. So, how did you manage that? Because you both were students at the time, and obviously you have the travel time and everything. How did you manage all that? How did you put your brand forward and this busy life?
Correct. Yeah, the schedule was quite busy, and the most important thing we learned was time management. Like you said, there was a travel time. So this travel time, instead of a disadvantage, we used it to an advantage. So in this travel time, we just used to focus, do the work, do the meeting. There was a lot of problem, but we kept doing and kept learning. But the best thing that we practiced was that then before the next day starts, we already know what to do the next day. So we used to put a task that this task needs to get done tomorrow. Then we used to plan what all time slots we have free because he was in his internship, I was going to my college. And we prioritized our brand only at the first. And we didn't let ourselves get distracted. And we sacrificed a lot of things, but we were dedicated, focused, and we were also quite disciplined.
Yeah, I think it's the urge of wanting to do something regularly on a daily basis from Monday to Sunday, that helped us get our speed and get here.
Okay. So also you have a lot of the resources when you are a student or you're young. जो हमारे पास resources होते हैं, say when it's coming financially and also it's very less. So how did you manage starting a brand? Because as students, I don't think we have as much fun जितना it takes to build a brand. So how did you manage?
So yeah, that's a good question. We also had a lot of fun. But we actually never focus on the funds. We focus on the task on hand. That this is our brand we want to get into market. What all do we need to do? We need the proof of concept. We started out with 2,000, 3,000, wherever the funds were required. We used to save our pocket money. We used to ask for extra help from our parents. But overall, we realized that you don't need that much amount to start a brand. You need a kickstart. You need a little bit amount, and then you can have a proof of concept, and then you can go for fundraising. But before going for fundraising, you should have some proof of concept.
And I think it's also about prioritizing where to invest. Would you rather invest in a liability or an asset? So we chose to rather, wasting time and money in places like going to dinners that time, We rather chose it to work at night, spend our money. Actually, in fact, you don't need much of funds to start off with. We started off with 2,000 rupees building our own bars at our own houses. You know, then later realize our vision and scope for something bigger than what we imagine and what we want in our lives.
Okay, that's great. And also, when you're young, especially when you're students, you see a lot of discouragement from your not just elders. You know, we generally say कि हाँ parents समझ रहे हैं, but it's generally not that. You face that from your peers as well, teachers. Or did you face anything like that? How did you overcome?
Yeah, so we faced a lot of problems. First, nobody took us seriously. When we used to go to manufacture, they just thought कि दो बच्चे हैं, time waste कर रहे हैं, इनको launch करना है energy bar, ठीक है. But no one took us seriously. Our parents also thought, okay, we're doing something, not that serious. Nobody took us seriously. And how did we overcome this? We kept proving everyone wrong. We never gave up. We kept showing that even if we are young, we are capable, we are responsible. And we just had that fire to just keep going and prove everyone wrong. That even young people can do this. That's not age is not a factor to determine a startup.
Yeah, very early on we realized that there are going to be a lot of opinionated people that are going to come on board and try to tell you how to do, what to do. But I think the best what you can do is learn and absorb from them and then implement what you feel like is right.
Yeah, even while raising funds, like even taking, first we took investment from Sunny and Daniel, to even them giving 21 year olds, we were 21 back
Yeah.
then. 30 lakhs is a big amount to manage.
Yeah.
Right, so they trusted us and they believed us. So we need to show them responsible and you can manage this amount of money.
Okay. So there are obviously a lot of shortcomings when you're young and but do you think that you being young somewhere facilitated towards you being that motivated? Are there any advantages like when it comes to being a young entrepreneur?
Yeah, as much as disadvantages, there are actually quite many advantages also. So if I was making this energy bars, a manufacturer, we would request them that your college entrepreneur student, please help us and support us. We will start up by young entrepreneurs. So the price they offer me is very different to the price they offer to their clients. They are extra mindful and careful with the quotation they give and also the support they give because they know that we are young, so they are ready to support us, they are ready to teach us and guide us. And I guess they also get a thrill that these young, so they want to we have seen people that they want to, somebody told us that through you I can dream, he said that I could see this through you, if I wanted, I couldn't not do this at my age, but if you guys can do it, I want to do it through you. So that was some good motivation we got that, okay, these people want to take a bet on us and we don't want to disappoint them.
I think we also have energy to work a lot compared. We work at 12, 6 in the morning, a lot of time. So there are very different timetables that we can work at. And I think that's the energy that you get in your early 20s.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
really utilize it.
And the point about somebody being so happy and motivated to be associated with you, that's great. So talking about the funding, how did that opportunity come along? How did you get in touch with Sunny and her team? And eventually, how did that help grow your brand? How did you pitch to them? Because it's difficult. Pitching is very difficult. And especially like you mentioned, people didn't take you seriously and you had a lot of challenges. How did you pitch to them and how in turn, how did the funding help? So,
Got it. So we went to an entrepreneur summit where actually Sunny had come for a closing ceremony. And the idea clicked there that why not reach to Sunny, ask her for investment, become the brand ambassador. That's the best shot for us. So we tried reaching out to her there, but her body got stopped. But as being entrepreneurs and not giving up, the next day only we outreached her. And she actually replied back. So from there she got us connected to her husband Daniel, who handles all the business and investment details. So then we exchanged a lot of emails. We exchanged 30 to 40 emails where we sent out the pitch, she was interested. But then at the final, Daniel said that he wants to meet, but he's not promising anything. So he told us to come to Mumbai and meet for 1 hour. So we were supposed to meet one day for 1 hour, but that turned out to be met 2 days for 3 hours. So that changed. And we didn't even have our products, no packaging, no product. We just went there with a 5-slide presentation. And we were just pitching ourselves and our idea and vision. So pitching part is difficult, but we didn't focus more on the presentation. We focused more on our vision. That I could have made a very fancy pitch deck and this, that, and I don't know that works. But what we did was we clearly communicated that this is our vision, this is our brand, this is what we want to build. And he got interested. Of course, he had conditions that he would try the products and do this and that. But overall, he was convinced with our communication skills and our vision for the brand.
Yeah, and I remember that time was like the last. So a little backstory to before Sunny and Rani meet as well. We approached few certain VCs as well for funding. And we had been rejected by a lot. A lot of people said that this won't work, and certain changes were required in the business. Apart from that, that was the last shot that we decided to fly to Mumbai and see if we could potentially close a deal. And it did. So that's how the journey began.
That's great that they took a bet on you guys.
Yes.
You did not have product.
Correct.
Like, imagine the motivation you reflected that they actually took a bet on you. So, like when you onboard investors, so when you start a brand, you have a plan, a strategy. Like you had a certain plan. Say this is where we'll be in 5 years. So that changes somewhat. They put their input because now they have a certain equity in your brand. They have a say. So what changes did you have to make? Like were they drastic changes or smaller ones you could accommodate? And how did that end up evolving your brand?
Got it. So, like you said, yeah, it's their brand also, it's their image also. So, it's very important to have their skin in the game. So, that's why we gave them equity. And to us founders, we only have equities, right? So, if we are giving it to someone, we have to really think and give it that, okay, we want them in a part of the company, right? We want them to value us and we want to value them. So, when the investment came, obviously, it helped us set the whole operation, set our office, get our team, get our first manufacturing batch. Get started with the marketing, influencer marketing. So the investment really helped us give that kick boost. But we also realized that the capital we raised is quite even. So even that amount of funds won't actually help to sustain the brand. So we learned that also.
When we talk about facilitating investors and new people on the cap table as well, what we realized was we take people or we have people on board who match our vision, And of course, yes, everybody has their opinion and they would definitely, we learn a lot from our own investors. So a lot of times this has happened that we might be in a pickle where we might need to consult our investors as well because they come from a broader perspective of things. So that really helps us. So instead of like facilitating their needs or their opinions, they let us, carefully choose and make a decision for our company that matches and aligns with mine and Joe's vision. So that's something that we know. There's not much conflict there.
I mean, this investment term, this is very glamorous on the outside, but the real paperwork is the paperwork.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of due diligence, there's a lot of paperwork where we face issue. It also delayed our funding process. So the paperwork was a very back-end difficulty. So even if we closed the deal, let's suppose in September, to actually let the money hit in the bank, it took us 3 months. So that's the time process where actually investment comes. So outside he has the investment, but we know how the back-end really is a struggle to get that. And everything needs to get done. The paper also goes to the court and get attested. So there's a lot of work also to get that investment done. And there's a lot of also cost to actually get that investment done.
So it's carefully taking care of that. It's like a baby taking care of that, because anything that goes wrong during those 3 months can hamper that.
So along with the investment, you also got a celebrity ambassador, right?
Correct.
So how did that evolve your brand? Because you're a beginner. Generally, brands get celebrity endorsers eventually, like after a couple years. So was it beneficial having Sunny as an ambassador right from the get-go? Also, how do you see this partnership working in the future? Like, do you think this would have the same impact it's having now? How do you think things will evolve from here?
Got it. So for the first question, how did the ambassador help us at the starting and how we leveraged it? So definitely, yeah, people pay a lot of money for endorsement, but here we were actually paid, and Sunny doesn't charge us any ambassador because they know they're a startup and they support us. That's the support that they give. And we've also seen that celebrities invest in a brand, but they actually don't give cash. They actually take their money, charges, ambassading back fee. So we see that these guys didn't do that. They really supported us. So having Sunny from start really leveraged us with building brand trust, brand credibility, and a wide range of visibility, and that boost. So even if nowadays I go people, I tell them that we went to Shark Tank, and then we tell Sunny the investor, then they recall also, oh yes, I've seen your episode. So there's a recall to the name. And we also do a lot of feedback calls with our consumers, and we ask them, India is a country where people actually do COD orders.
Yeah.
But with our thing, people are actually doing prepaid. So So we checked the consumer what made them pay for the prepaid. So they said that because they had seen Shark Tank and they had also seen Sunny as an ambassador, so they had that trust and credibility that made them pay for the prepaid. That's a very good thing for a brand because all the chaos comes when it is a COD order. So that really helped in leverage. And till now we haven't actually even leveraged it too far because we need an ad budget for just the ad shoot, not to pay her, but there's a crew that we have to pay, set up, and then we also have to use that for marketing. So we are yet to use good leverage of the ambassador, and we have to create brand videos and stories. But overall, it's been a very good boost. There is a quick boost definitely, and we have that advantage.
So, how do you see Rise Bar like in 5 years? Do you plan on, starting a new product line, getting into other products, or are you more focused on growing into other channels with the same products?
Good. So we want to cater to a large variety, and we want to be the one-stop solution for all the wellness problems. So yes, we have pipeline lot many new products, wellness products, and what we see Rise is that is India's #1 health and wellness brand. And our vision and goal is to also go to IPL. And when people see Rise, they see a new warm welcoming of Rise. If you see our logo, it's a sun. So people in their each and every occasion, we want that Rise is part of it whatsoever.
Yeah, we've used sun as a symbol of warmth, so it's like a warm welcome to a new life. And we're going to focus on building a community in the next 5 years that truly stick and understand the vision and trust the efficacy that we provide as a brand.
Okay.
So if you see our sun seal, we want that whenever people see the sun seal, they know that's a product of Rise.
It's so nice, the message behind your logo and all. It's very nice. So, sitting with you, talking to you, I feel actually very motivated, because when you're talking to entrepreneurs that are so young and motivated, you actually get a boost. People watching you will actually get inspired and a lot of help from your experiences. So do you have a small message to give to them?
Yeah, of course, we should never hesitate to make mistakes. Our biggest learning is from our own mistakes. We have learned many things. What our strategies were before launching and after launching is two different goals. That doesn't work. But our ability to keep changing and adapting, that's something. And like I keep saying, people should take small steps at a time, and those small steps will become their ladders of success.
Yeah, like we noticed, had this session with someone, and there were a lot of young people on the board. We noticed that a lot of people are scared of failure. And one thing that we would like to put out is that never shy away from failure. In order to pursue it something great, you're bound to offend a bunch of people in the journey. So this is something that they shouldn't shy away from, and we're always open to help and inspire any others who want to start and build a brand.
And also be never afraid of a rejection. Out of 1,000 people, 999 people will reject you, but that one will always accept you.
And you need that one to support you.
Definitely. So it was amazing talking to you, especially the last bit you shared about not being afraid of failure and rejection. Because I feel young entrepreneurs or somebody who's trying to open a brand, they generally, stumble backwards. They think, maybe I'll fail, maybe this won't work. Why am I putting my money towards this thing? Especially when it's young people. I think older ones generally have, certain amount, after a certain amount of investment they've done, towards that dream. So I think the conversation with you, when our audience sees it, they'll definitely be inspired. Okay? And I think they'll also, help them to get out of that comfort zone and actually push themselves. So thank you so much. It was amazing talking to you guys. And if you guys like the conversation and want to know more stories from the D2C ecosystem, definitely like, share and subscribe. Thank you.